Tanks are unique and robust machines. There are moments when NATO and other forces require small tanks, ATV trucks, and other incredible vehicles. This results in a stunning list of so few automobiles you find it difficult to believe they have an engine and can drive. Welcome back to Military Future. Let's get started on some mini military tanks that actually scare us. Moving on to number 1. M22 Locust. The M22 Locust is an American Tier 3 premium light tank. In the winter of 1941, specifications for a light airmobile tank were developed. The Marmon Harrington business was responsible for creating the automobile. Between April 1943 and February 1944, 830 vehicles were made, 260 of which were given to the United Kingdom through Lend-Lease. 2. FV-191 Scorpion. An armored reconnaissance vehicle made in Britain is called the FV-101 Scorpion. In the family of 7 armored vehicles known as the Combat Vehicle Reconnaissance, it served as both the primary vehicle and the fire support type. A main 76mm artillery gun with slow fire that could fire high explosive, HESH, smoke and canister rounds are mounted aboard the Scorpion. The turret was additionally equipped with a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun and 2 multi-barreled smoke grenade dischargers on each side. The Jaguar J60's 4.2-liter gasoline engine was swapped out for a Cummins or Perkins diesel engine. It had a top speed of roughly 50 miles per hour. 3 14.5mm rounds. The Soviet Union, the old Warsaw Pact, modern Russia, and other nations all employ the 14.5 by 114mm heavy machine gun and anti-material rifle ammunition. The KPV heavy machine gun served as a foundation for the ZPU series of anti-aircraft guns and is also the primary armament of the BTR series of armored personnel carriers from the BTR-60 to the BTR-80. 4. Centurion Mk71. Leyland Motors created the Centurion Mk71 as an improved versions of the Centurion Mk7. Early models had a drawback in that their maximum range on hard roads was about 65 miles, necessitating the use of extra auxiliary tanks and later a monowheel trailer. The Mk7, however, featured a third fuel tank under the hull, increasing its range to 101 miles. Additionally, it was discovered that the Centurion could travel on various European railroads with much more substantial loading gauges. 5. Tankette. An armored fighting vehicle on tracks is called a tankette, which is about the size of a car that looks like a miniature tank. It is mostly used for scouting and light infantry support. Additionally, it can be referred to as a small tank. Between the 1920s and the 1940s, a number of nations produced tankettes, some of which saw limited action in the early days of World War II. Tankettes came in 2- and 3-man variations. They lacked a tank gun and were considerably smaller than light tanks. Instead, they typically carried 1 or 2 machine guns, or on rare occasions, a 20mm autocannon or grenade launcher. The armored fighting of World War I served as the inspiration for the tankette idea. 6. 20mm autocannon. A specific caliber of cannon or autocannon ammunition is 20mm. Since 20mm is the threshold at which the majority of countries move from bullets to shells, it has evolved into the point at which weapons are typically designated as machine guns or cannons. However, there are exceptions. The cartridge cases for these projectiles are typically 75 to 152mm long, most of which are shells with an explosive payload and detonating fuse. 7. Themis UGV. With assistance from the Estonian Ministry of Defense, Milrem, an Estonian provider of defense and security services, is creating the multi-mission unmanned ground vehicle or UGV known as Themis or Tracked Hybrid Modular Infantry System. The UGV is made to carry out a variety of military tasks in risky or challenging locations. Placing warfighters at a safe distance from enemy attack delivers improved safety and operational efficiency. The vehicle can be set up to perform a variety of tasks, including target collection, communications relay, rescue, firefighting, and medical evacuation. 8. 81mm mortars. Typically, mortars are smoothbore, muzzle-loading, and indirect fire weapons. The gun's 3 main parts are the barrel, base plate, and bipod. Medium-weight mortars have an 81mm diameter. It is used to give light infantry, air assault, and airborne forces with long-range indirect fire support across the whole front of the battalion's zone of influence. It is a smoothbore, muzzle-loading, high-angle fire weapon. In general, medium mortars have a firing range of 100 to 5,500 meters, whereas heavy mortars have a range of about 500 to 7,000 meters. 9. The Badger. A new generation of armored vehicles, the Badger Infantry Combat Vehicle, or ICV, is being produced for the South African National Defence Force, Daniel Land System, or SANDF, as part of Project Hooifster. The project calls for the supply of 264 Badger Infantry Fighting Vehicles, or ICVs, which will replace the SANDF's 30-plus-year-old 66 Rattle IFVs. During combat operations, the SANDF mechanized troops will be transported by the Badger vehicle, which will give them improved firepower, increased mobility, and a high level of armored protection. A diesel turbocharged engine powers the Badger. It is most likely a Scania DI-12 engine with 540 horsepower. Run-flat tires and essential tire inflation system are installed on the vehicle. It can navigate difficult terrain with ease. The Badger prototype was capable of amphibious travel. Basically, because it is totally amphibious, the Finnish Patria AMV. The Badger's water jets were later removed since South Africa doesn't require amphibious capability. After watching the full video, give a huge thumbs up in the comment section below. Moreover, take a look at the additional videos in our YouTube channel. 10. Rheinmetall Weasel 1. The Weasel Armored Weapons Carrier, or AWC, manufactured by Rheinmetall, is a light air transportable armored battle vehicle that's only minimally armored. It was created for the German army in order to fulfill a need for a light vehicle with armor that could be flown for use by its airborne forces, such as the infantry of the German Bundeswehr. With delivery starting in the late 1980s, the Weasel was presented as a new weapon system for the Bundeswehr. The vehicle's diminutive size and agility, which make it challenging to see on the battlefield, led to its given name Weasel. Weasel 1's production ceased in 1993. Of the 343 Weasel 1 vehicles, 210 had the dual-feed Rheinmetall Mk20 RH202 20mm autocannon mounted on the one-man Kuka turret E62A1, and the 133 had the Raytheon TOW wire-guided anti-tank guided missile system. Both versions were sent to Somalia by Germany in 1993 as part of the UN forces' engagement in the Somali Civil War. Weasel 1 measures roughly 3.55 meters in length, 1.82 meters in height, and 1.82 meters in width. It is lighter than the armored version of the American Humvee military light truck. 11. Rheinmetall Weasel 2. A fifth rolled wheel is added to the Weasel 2, which is an extended version of the Weasel 1. A 1.9-liter Volkswagen inline 4-cylinder turbo diesel producing 109 horsepower and mated to a ZF automatic transmission. The Weasel 2 has improved crew safety measures such as improved armor, an air conditioning system, and NBC shielding. It is generally bigger, faster, and stronger than the Weasel 1. The larger Weasel 2, which is around 4.78 meters long, 2.17 meters high, and 1.87 meters wide, has almost twice as much interior volume as its predecessor. It is absurd how these miniature military vehicles are created and how such concepts are put into practice to produce these vehicles for wide applications. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments.